Did you hear that? Are you able to hear the recording in progress?
Yeah.
I whenever I replay it, I can never tell if it's actually on the actual recording or not. Well, it doesn't really make a difference. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Your Personal Record. It's the show where Adam Realman, chat about music, about records, about anything else. Now, today we have a very, very, very special guest here. This is what you would call like the grail of people I want to chat with. You know, like us record collectors, we have those grails, those pieces that we just want to get, and eventually we collect those, we get those. Our guest here today is a true, like, how do I say, just a grail of someone that I've been wanting to chat with forever. She's certainly one of the busiest people in the record manufacturing industry. She's got like her link tree reads like a forest. It's beyond a tree. There's like so much going on there. So welcome to the show right over here, Jenn D'Eugenio. I said that right? D'Eugenio. Damn it. You know, I get so close. I'm not going to do the whole intro again. Jenn D'Eugenio. How are you, Jenn?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for doing this. So let me see here. We're gonna sort of run through some of this link tree from like just from memory. All
Okay.
right. So you've got Women in Vinyl. Now, Women in Vinyl is not only an Instagram page, but it's now a podcast, and it's a fairly new podcast, and I want to talk about that. You've got Mistress of Reality, which is your own personal collection of Black Sabbath Master Reality different pressings. An
Mhm.
impressive collection right there. Let's see. You are the what is it? The sales and customer experience manager over at Furnace Record Pressing. So you're literally like, press, I mean, not you personally are like pressing records, but you're involved with making sure that everyone is like happy with what they get.
Yep.
I mean, what could be better? I mean, who better to have on this program than you? So welcome. Thank you so much. I just want, let's start talking about Women in Vinyl.
Sure.
All right, so go ahead. I mean, the floor is yours. I do want to say I was over at Needle and Groove earlier. Our friend Amanda
I love
was wearing your shirt today. That shirt, the Women in Vinyl shirt. And she said, "Oh, I said, yeah, I'm talking to Jen." She says, "Oh, send her my regards. Show her that I'm wearing the shirt." So
I love her. She's amazing.
she's great. So now, so let's see. Women in Vinyl podcast.
So Women in Vinyl started a couple years ago because there was this meme going around of a 1950s couple, and the guy is like nerding out about his record, and the wife is knitting, and she's like, basically, I could care less. And it kept getting reposted and reposted, and it was making me insane because I was like, I'm the dude in that picture. I mean, my partner and fiance, he's a collector as well. So, like, in our house, it's never been like that. We are enablers, if anything. You come home, there's 6 records at the door, nobody's batting an eye. We're like, cool, what do we get?
Right.
And so I kept seeing that, and I was like, this is bugging me. And then working at a record manufacturer, um, and just meeting other people in the industry, I was noticing that there's a lot of women behind the scenes, but you're always hearing about, the guys doing the stuff, or like thinking that a woman is the secretary at the plant. And I was like, you know what, we need to start getting some notoriety out there for these women and what they're doing. And so I started Women in Vinyl as a blog, and it got really great reception from not only the vinyl community, but um, just, I mean, everyone in the industry has been amazing. So within the past year, this year, we started the podcast, sort of take it to the next level. And as of last week, we've officially made it a registered business. So we're on the next step to the 501c3 so we can have a nonprofit.
Congratulations. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And so, how do I mean people find you? It's certainly, let's say to be on the podcast. Do you reach out to them? Do they reach out to you? How does that work?
It's a little bit of both. So I obviously work with a lot of amazing people. Robin, my co-host, she's the only female lathe cutter in Canada. So between her and I, and then our board, we have a lot of different kind of resources to pull from. But We definitely don't know everybody, so if you know someone, definitely have them reach out. Because yeah, I mean, the more, the better. I put up a post about women record stores on Wednesday, and the response to that was really amazing. And from that, I've learned about a bunch more female-owned record stores. So we'll start a resource on the website for that.
That's great. I mean, it really, when you think, and it's true that meme is, I guess to a certain extent based in reality, in the sense that you would think you go to a record fair or a record shop, most of the people there are dudes,
Yep.
waiting online at record store day.
Hmm.
You look, there's, less than a handful of women, and the rest of them are, hairy dudes. I mean, it's what it is. That's the demographic there. But no, it's a great podcast. Anyone who's watching this, you should already be tuned into the podcast. But if not, we're going to put all of Jen's links down in the description below. And like I said, this link tree reads like a forest, so there's a lot going on there. She's very, very busy, a lot busier than I am. Well, at least now anyway. Uh, at some point, things will pick up post COVID, but
Yes.
we're moving in that direction. Now, so what I'm really curious about is the is furnace record pressing and the manufacturing plant, and and then we'll get into your personal collection bag, which looks now is all that yours, or is do you like how do, yeah, let's talk about that first, and then we'll
Sure.
talk about the so now is that all yours, or you kind of intermingle your collection with your fiance, or
We intermingled our collection from the beginning. So we actually bought a house during COVID. And the main thing we were looking for was enough space for our records. So, like, over on this side of me, too, records. Over here, records. So we have a record floor. Um, and yeah, I'm very organizationally OCD. So um, when we merged them, I was like, all right, genre, alphabetical, chronological. So yeah, we have like some stoner rock over here, some DJ stuff. Ray, my fiance, he's been DJing all vinyl since the '90s, and then some jazz, a bunch of other kind of '90s and stuff over here. So
all right, so I just want to get it straight. So it's genre based,
mhm,
and then within that alphabetical.
mhm.
All right, all right.
And then chronological.
And okay, all right. See, I mean, you really, I don't have patience to do the chronological.
Yeah,
I'll put everything. I Most stuff is not chronological because it's I don't care. The Rundgren section is here, and whatever I pull it out, I put it back.
that's
You
most
know,
people. I'm just
right?
crazy.
I mean, and that was just one example. Let's say Ramones are all chronological because
Right.
that's like the extent the big collection there. But everything else is just thrown in. I'll just first, second, first record, third record, fifth. It doesn't make a difference. It's all within that area.
Yeah.
But well, so you commingled those records, early on.
Mhm.
It took me, being married. Well, I'm married now many years, but my wife had a good, a sizable Ramones collection. I had a sizable Ramones collection, and it took a couple of years to actually, we wanted to make sure that this marriage is going to work. So, you don't just commingle the records immediately. It's what is it, 26, 27 years now, and the Ramones collection is happily, happily blended at this point. I don't, the only one that I know that's hers is the one that says "To Debbie" from Johnny Ramone. So everything else, we'll have to figure out, but or the kids will figure out once that's time. But
Right.
so now, so tell us a little about your collection now.
Yeah, so I mean, the interesting thing is that we have differing tastes, and then we have areas that have that crossover. So, the stoner rock, space rock, a lot of that kind of stuff is what I collect. Obviously, Black Sabbath and anything inspired by it. Ray, is into the DJ stuff, some electronic, a lot of jazz, and then there's a lot of crossover. So for us it was easy because there's still like, there's still like our sections kind of, but you'll still see the other getting into that area.
I mean, what is something that you have that, oh, there's a little cat there.
No, yeah.
What is it? Mine should be running around at some point. One
I
of them will
saw
end
this
up here.
friendly show and doing my research.
Yeah, it is. She knows when the cam is on and likes to, pose.
I love it.
So I can't help that. But so what's something that you have that Ray is like, I'm not going near?
Hmm. Probably some of the more metal type stuff. But even then, so I can tell you the reverse. Um
All right.
so I like, people are probably gonna dog on me for this, but like I cannot get into Zappa. I just can't. So, but he loves Zappa. As a human, I find him intriguing and very interesting, but his music, I just can't do it. So that's something where I'm like, I'm not touching it.
Yeah. I mean, he's all over the place. I again, it depends on what era Zappa, and I had a bunch of Zappa CDs that when my son was a kid, I mean, he couldn't have been more than like 10 or 11, grabbed them and started listening to him. And it's like, well, you're 11 years old. Why are you listening to Zappa? But it just opened up his mind to, exposed him to just a wide range of stuff.
Yeah,
But all right, so you're not grooving on the Zappa.
not.
Not even Shake Your Booty with
Ah.
Valley Girl or Yellow Snow.
No,
Come on, you gotta like Yellow Snow.
it's weird.
All right. It is. And so you're mostly into like the metal and the stoner. What are some obviously, like you said, the Sabbath, and now the Mistress of Reality page. How many pieces of Master of Reality do you have?
I have over 40 variants of
Oh,
Master
that's
Reality.
great. What is the what is the most bizarre one there?
Well, I pulled some to show you.
All right, a little show and tell. Yes.
So one that I was looking for forever is this Taiwanese version. Um, so they're in these like laminate kind of sleeves. It's actually like a pretty crappy release, but they're so hard to come by. So like that was one that it's kind of strange, but really cool. Um, and some of these, well, actually, we had someone, our shrink wrapper at Furnace, he's from Taiwan. And so I actually like he translated some of the stuff on the label, which was really cool. So I broke that all out on Mistress of Reality to be able to say like, here's what this actually says. And he grew up like right down the street from where it was pressed, which was really cool. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really fun.
Did they get the translations correct?
Yeah,
Like, there's got to be something that's like totally messed up.
it's like, well, it's like in like so you can see. So I can
Okay.
translate it. So he was able to like tell me that it was like Chengcheng Record Factory and the address, like that's what it says.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when they translated like sweet leaf, it didn't come out as like, cherry pie or something.
Not in this case, although I have a which one is it? There's another pressing that is of it's a Taiwanese one, and they which one is it? They translated something as lion. It's hilarious. I'll follow up with that one because yeah, it's really funny. And then this one, it's another. These are bootlegs, and I have to say, like, I'm not a bootleg supporter unless it's like this. Like,
There's always the exception.
yeah. And so, I mean, I think it's fascinating because back then, people wanted the music, and so like this is the only way that they were able to get it. But these are like these chalkboard covers. So there's one like this, and there's one that's black and white.
Don't scratch your nails on it.
Right? Yeah. And they have these tax stamps that have
Oh,
survived
wow.
all that time. So that's really cool. Um, yeah, and on each one, I have like my little post-it with information. So
Now, on these bootlegs, are these fairly new issues, or these were issued, back in the 70s?
yeah, these are 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. there's still some more recent bootlegs, and I'll buy those too. But you know, the older ones are fun to uncover because what I find is like the metal that they're using are from like U.S. pressings, because you'll see in the dead wax the scribe is like a U.S. catalog number, and then sometimes they're scratched out. Something else I found really cool about these is because these factories were just bootlegging a bunch of different stuff, the labels are actually I think they're just like blank labels. And then before they put them in, they would type out like what was on it. So like High Stereo Light was just like doing this. And then if it was Led Zeppelin, they could just type like Led Zeppelin on the label before they put it in the press.
Right, right.
So kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Like knowing manufacturing now, it's just fun to kind of uncover that stuff.
The hell is that? All right, and the stereo is on. It was making some weird noise. I don't know if you heard it, but I don't know if this mic would pick it up. But whoa, wow. So, all right, that's interesting. So now, as far as the bootlegs go, how many bootlegs versus how many legit copies?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, I'm not sure. They're probably more legit copies because I should probably stop at some point, but I'm getting all of the different
Don't stop.
the
Don't stop.
different countries too. So some of those have variations in the album covers and stuff like that. So it's fun to kind of dig in.
Now, what is it about Master of Reality? Is it just you just happened to sort of build that one, or is it are they easier to find, or is it
So
your favorite Sabbath?
it's my favorite. It's also I feel like the one that really sort of solidified the like doom genre, which is the kind of metal that I like. It's also the first one that started me down this obsession. So I mean, my Sabbath stuff's behind me here, but like we have, I mean, there's tons of different variants. So I'm not stopping with Master of Reality, but that's what sort of started it all. And I think it has the most cover variation, or at least the most obvious cover
Hmm.
variation. Like the Japanese one's like totally different.
Oh wow!
So, um, so yeah, I think it's just the most kind of striking, but we'll continue on from here.
All right, cool, cool. And as far as like other metal goes, classic old metal, newer stuff. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff coming out now that's, heavy psych and doom and I mean, I know some of it. I, don't know a lot of it. I'm more into the older stuff, but there are some of the newer bands that I really dig. Um, you got any new stuff that we should check out?
Yeah. So one of my favorite, I don't know that I would really consider them metal. Is Uncle Acid. Uncle Acid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, their sound is amazing. Like I have the Night Creeper here, and again, a lot of the stuff that I like isn't really. It's not like thrashy or anything like that. It's really more like low and slow, like
Sludgy, yeah.
and yeah, like those kinds of things. So anything on Small Stone Records. It's a great small label. I love them. This band, it's an Italian band. Black Elephant, Seven Swords, really cool.
Is
Um,
it is it is Small Stone a European label?
they're not. Small Stone
Okay.
is a U.S. label, and then he partners with Cosmic Artifacts, so it is available overseas too. I had to buy this one overseas. Um, really great stuff. Really good pressings of the stuff. So anything on there. One of my other favorite labels is Writing Easy.
Oh yeah.
So like if I were to buy anyone a record, but I've never bought one before, it would be Here Lies Man.
Hmm.
Um, Afrobeat and Sabbath mix. I mean,
It's weird.
it's awesome.
It's yeah, yeah.
uh, and I mean, I love supporting small labels. So like another one is El Paraiso. So this is more like in the space rock kind of genre,
Hmm.
heavy instrumentals. But this is really good, Kazusui. And anything on this label too. It has some crossover into some like jazz type stuff, but yeah, definitely recommend that too.
Heavy Psych Sounds, also another good label. They're out of Europe, but I think they just that probably during pandemic started up, I guess, a distribution within the states.
Yeah. Yep.
So now, all right. So now let's talk about Furnace Record Press or plant record plant. What do we call it? Furnace Record Manufacturing,
Furnace record pressing.
Furnace Record Pressing. All right. So are you doing like what are you pressing? Are you pressing major label stuff? Are you pressing independent stuff? Both? How does it work?
Everything. Yeah. So we press for major labels, indie labels, bands. Although with the way that turn times are right now, our focus is more on like our mid-sized labels, and then we have major labels too.
Wow. So like I mean I know nothing of this process. I mean I know a little, but if I record something, I want it pressed, assuming you had the time. Um I mean it's not, but it's purely hypothetical. I bring you what, a digital file, like, and you can then convert it to, an acetate, which then you want to just walk us through the manufacturing process, because I think it's cool.
Yeah. So uh, most everything nowadays is from digital. So I mean, there are people that can still cut from tape, which is awesome, but for the most part, we get all digital files, and then they ideally would be mastered for vinyl. And then we send those to our lacquer cutters. We work with two guys, black belt master, excuse me, black belt mastering out of Seattle. Levi, he's awesome, and then Jeff Powell in Memphis, and then they cut to a lacquer. And then the lacquer is sent to the plating facility that makes it into your metal parts. And then those metal parts are sent back to us. And then we do test pressings from them first. People want to listen to those to make sure like audio's in the right spot, there's no obvious defects. And then from there, once those are approved, we press your records.
All right. Wow.
And we do the full thing at Furnace. So like ideally we would do start to finish. So you don't have to worry about anything. So we'll, proof your art with you. So you literally just get your shrink wrapped, finished, packaged record.
Excuse me now. So you'll print out the album covers as well?
Most places don't print in house, and we don't print in house either.
Okay.
But we will get the print and we'll pack it all out for you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. I got that's interesting. Now, what is it about the smell of an acetate that smells so damn good?
It's like, one of those like car smells, sort of, like
But yet the acetate,
exactly.
but the car smell eventually gets lost. I mean, I've got acetates that are, 40 years old, and I open and it's just, oh, it's so good.
Yeah. And
what
our
what is it?
it's the chemicals that are used for it. I mean, I think in one of our episodes of the podcast, maybe it's the one with Jet, our most recent one, who she's a cutter, and they talk about that. Yeah, the off gassing and the smell. It's just
Ooh, it's just so good. And for those of you who are listening or watching who've never smelled an acetate, try to find one and just huff an acetate, because it's unlike anything you'll ever smell. And if you're a record collector, you will love that smell. It just stays with you. Now, yeah, all right. So here, I think we're gonna work on something right now, Jen. Acetate scented candles.
there you go.
Ooh, all right. So maybe with the whole wax manufacturing thing, we can partner up on this or
There we go. Yep.
something. All right, all right. We'll go offline and talk about that.
Yeah.
So now, all right. So let's get we're now. Okay, I gotta the thoughts are racing here. Focus, Adam. Um, now you don't. Now you wouldn't admit it anyway, but you don't just like take a record when when they're pressing it. No,
No.
okay, no, that's not gonna happen.
Even with the process, like they have to cool and get QC'd and all that. But yeah, no. I mean, if a label sends us one or says we can have one, then that's
Right, right. Okay. Now, no, okay. We're gonna skip the next line of question, because I'm thinking like you work in it's like working in a candy factory. You got to sample a piece of candy. But I mean, I guess these things are kind of everything is on a numbered lot, so they'll
yeah,
know if
and
something's
it's
missing.
funny because it's like we're not. I mean, we're not massive, right? Like we're not United Record Pressing size, but the amount of work still that we do and the amount of time it takes for a project to go through, I mean, I might not even get to honestly see it.
Right,
So,
right.
when it's out on Instagram or out in the world, and I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, we pressed that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Now
I mean,
I mean, do you have anything to do with, making the multicolored vinyls? I mean, you obviously know how it's done, but you're not directly involved with that?
no, I'm not pressing.
Right,
I,
right.
I have to know how they're made because we have to help kind of guide people as they're ordering. But yeah, I don't do it myself.
Yeah. I mean, just in terms of that, whether it's multicolored, these fleck, what is your favorite, type of sort of, what would you call, like a trick vinyl, or a variant, or whatever it is?
Yeah, so those are all like all the ones that you see that are splatters or half and half or whatever. Those are all hand pressed, so they're done one at a time. So like if it's a half and half, for example, you're making two different pucks, cutting them in half, putting them back together, and then putting it in the press with the labels on either side. So that's why they're more expensive. They take longer. They're usually smaller runs. There isn't a way to really automate those on a large scale. So I think some of my favorites, I like the color and color ones. I think those are cool. I think honestly, a nice splatter is always just like if the color combo's right, I just think that looks classy, nice.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. I have one of the Johnny Thunders. There's actually quite a few. I think live in, I think it was Madrid. I forget the name of the album, and it's like pink, white. It looks like a box of Good and Plenties, but it's that flecked, and it looks really really nice. And they reissued the Live at Max's Kansas City, in a two record set. One's red and black, the other's yellow and black, and they look superb. Especially when it's like a clear vinyl with the flecking in there, or flecking, or so.
A clear one for it was clear with white splatter um, for this indie band, and I have it on my wall at work. I just think it looks so nice. It's
Yeah.
just perfect. Yeah.
They look so good. And I like one of the Bob Moulds, a fairly Sunshine Rock, I think, was sort of like orange on the outside with like a red blob or yellow blob on the inside, and it just looks great,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Now I got one from Michael Imperioli's band, Zopa, and this one, it's weird because it's kind of copper on one side, the other side is reddish, but it looks like it was almost spray painted.
Hmm.
And like, how the hell did they do that?
I wonder if it was one of those like A side, B side ones. Um, yeah, I mean, different plants do them different ways, but you can like take different extrusions and sort of like put those together to create the puck. Um, yeah, it's hard to explain, but there
Uh,
there are some. I think it's InstaVinyl that sometimes reposts things from like different plants. And it's been fun to even see some other plants' processes and how they're doing the hand press stuff because you sort of have to. Some of them you just have to figure it out. You're like, oh, that thing looks cool. How am I gonna do that?
right.
Or like, shout out to Wax Mage and their like crazy variants. I mean, the stuff they're doing is insane. Um, I don't even know how they do it. We had or we're about to have Ren from Gotta Groove. She's a QA there, and she obviously couldn't tell us any secrets, but even just sort of finding out what kind of machines they do those on was interesting to me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and every so often you see, like, on Facebook or on YouTube, they'll have the how-to video, like the factory tour, where it's just a camera and it just shows how these records are being, like you said, the puck goes down, they sprinkle something on it, the labels go on the top and the bottom, they push it in the, like flattens like a pancake, goes in the oven, comes out, and there's your record.
mhm.
Then it's cut, and it's like I can watch this on repeat over and over and oh, it's just, oh, look at that.
This is Coltrane.
Hey,
He's coming to check out. We're gonna lick some records.
I wish mine were around. I don't know where they are now, but so record store day. We're like, this is, oh, look at this. We're getting a big show here. It's big record store day weekend. Anything that you're looking for in particular?
Well, actually, the next drop is the one that has the Euro Master of Reality that I'm going to need. So hopefully, someone out there in the UK will be able to grab that one for me because
Mm. I'm sure I think you got enough followers and friends that
Yeah.
someone, that's just a hunch, that someone out there will grab it. If you're watching from the UK, grab it. Yeah, I did all right today. Let me see. I picked. I what the next drop has some more things that I'm looking for, but today, Flamin' Groovies, Bucket Full of Brains, 10-inch. Suicide 10-inch. Yeah, haven't opened this one yet. I listened to one side of the Flamin' Groovies. Let's see. We got Joey Ramone, the reissue. Don't worry about me. This one I think is on Pink. Oh, this is Pink Splatter.
Oh,
It's not going to get opened though. It's just this one's just going to stay sealed. Much as the original pressing that I have is still sealed. I have trouble and issues with when it comes to Ramone stuff. And the wipers right there.
nice.
So that was that. I mean, that was just the record store day haul.
Mhm.
The next round, what am I looking for here? There's the live Ramones, Lou Reed, and Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreak is the found sessions for LAMF,
Cool.
not the lost mix or the. It's whatever. Just
I know. Some of the stuff, like this most recent or today's is they have a Frankie and the Witch Fingers. They're a good band, but I have the release that's coming out today already, so I'm like, maybe there will be one hanging out after. So
yeah, that's. I mean, I was on the fence about the replacements, the outtakes, and I didn't see it, and I took that as a sign. I said, well, it's not. I've got the deluxe edition. I think that everything from Pleased to Meet Me is on that deluxe edition. That. So I didn't. I'm not pursuing it this way. If I should happen to see it, I'll grab it at some point. But
right.
you know, I mean, what's your take on the whole record store day thing? Good, bad, indifferent?
I mean, I definitely support it. I think it's good to have the exposure to small record stores, especially with like Amazon. I mean, they just put up that thing about their vinyl day. I'm just like, come on.
Oh, Amazon's doing their own vinyl day now?
Yeah, they did it. I think it was yesterday.
Oh, well,
I
missed
just,
that.
like these people are working so hard. I did a post for the May Vinyl Challenge, talking about how these people are musical, sages. Essentially, they're the ones that help us find other things that we like and turn us on to new music. And they're not making tons of money doing it. So I'm like, we need to support them. They're so important to our musical journey. So I think if Record Store Day does that and gets people in there, that it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, your May Vinyl challenge. Well, let me tell you something. I mean, first of all, it exploded the Instagram. I mean, like it seems like everybody who is into record collecting, like this whole kind of vinyl universe on Instagram, was doing your May Vinyl challenge, and that was the first one that I actually did. I've been on Instagram doing vinyl for a couple of years already, but never bothered with a vinyl challenge. I said, you know what, I'm going to take yours and make it all Ramones. And
Yeah, it's impressive.
I mean, if you did, let's say, the seasonal vinyl challenge, like a 3-month one, I could probably do a half a year
Mhm.
of no repeat Ramones.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's we didn't even scratch the surface in May. But it's all good. I mean, and I had fun doing it. I took it so seriously. Like I would take my pictures a week in advance. This way, have it all there. Because I know some days I don't get around to it, or you get caught up. First thing I did in the morning, I'm still late in bed. The alarm goes off. Okay, got to do the May Vinyl challenge, and now I can start now I can take a shower. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
that's the
fun.
way it works.
And I hear a lot of people will ask me too. They'll say, I'm not quite sure what this day means, and ask me ahead of time because everybody's lining up their posts. I love it. It's great.
I mean, the truth is, I kind of take the whole thing as a just use your imagination within that framework, and
Yeah,
it
because
seemed to work for me.
I try to do it so that it's not too like too specific. Because a lot
Yeah,
of people will send me, because I ask everybody to give me their suggestions, and then I sort of narrow them down by the most suggested or the things that I think enough people will be able to do. So that if someone has only 30 records or 31 records, they can play. But if
exactly.
they have a crazy amount of records, then it's like fun to dig through their collection. I
Yeah,
mean, I think a year or two ago, or 2 years ago, 2 years running anyway, we had like 11-year-old kid that was playing. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see what everybody picks.
It is. So we were talking about. I think my chair. I thought I fixed this chair, but let me raise it 1 second here. No, maybe it's not the chair. Maybe it's the microphone. I think I fixed the chair. The mic may. I don't know what's going on here, but I feel like everything. I'm looking at it. It seems all right. I think we're better now. Control. We were talking about you were talking about record stores. So what do you got there in Virginia?
We have Mobius Records. Dempsey, he runs that spot. It's great. Um, we have CD Seller. We were just there. It's like the first record store we went back to after we were fully vaccinated, and bought some records. But funny enough, I bought a CD. I hadn't bought a CD in a while. But he
Right.
was playing this. It was a CD bootleg. Here I go talking about bootlegs again. Working at a record pressing plant. Um, but
Well, like,
but it was of a band called Orb doing Pink Floyd's Metal in like this down tempo uh like trance type style thing. It is so cool. I was like,
is
what is this?
is that the orb that does little fluffy clouds? Is that the same?
It's from the 90s. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find like anything on
Oh, so
it.
that I mean, if it's, I'm assuming it's the
I
same orb that we're talking about. Yeah, the orb had this little fluffy clouds. It was just this like trippy electronic. I don't know what genre.
yeah,
It was that's like the only thing out of that era that like I kind of really dig,
yeah.
and Alex Patterson, is that his name?
I'm
That
not
something Peterson Patterson, something like that. But yeah, the orb is, if it's the same orb, it's
I
really
think
good.
it is. Yeah, it sounds the same.
Same, certainly same orbit, if not the same orb. So now how far are you from Richmond?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, all right. You're north of Richmond, Alexandria. It's closer to DC, right?
We're right outside DC, and DC has
Right.
a bunch of great shops. Baltimore has a bunch of great shops, so we're lucky
Yeah.
to have a lot of good places around us.
I follow some of the. I mean, I follow quite a few. I've been to a few of the DC shops quite a few years ago. Nothing in Baltimore, but I follow a couple of the stores in Richmond. I've been to one of the ones in Richmond. I don't remember. It was in like kind of I could tell you if you know the area. There's like a space age diner, and it's almost directly across the street from this like space age diner.
I think is it Plan 9?
I
No,
think it is Plan 9.
I think
It's
maybe
Plan 9. I think that I'm gonna, maybe it's Vinyl Conflict. Is that
yes,
another?
Final Conflict. They're kind of like punk metal. Yep.
Yeah, I follow them. Yeah, Plan 9 was great, and I look at Vinyl Conflict on the Instagram, and it seems like they're always coming up with really good stuff, like solid punk, punk and metal.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good stuff. You went to punk at all, or it's strictly metal?
I do like punk, kind of more older stuff. I work with Frontier Records at work. Great female run label, Lisa. She's amazing. She was on the podcast too. A lot of that kind of stuff I can get into. Adolescence, things like that.
All right, yeah. I'm more in like the early New York scene,
Right.
the CBGBs, Max's type stuff. I wasn't old enough to go out and see that in its time, but I caught it, some 15 years later, and that's my jam. And like that Suicide, just
Mhm.
waiting to rip that open. I mean, no, I wouldn't rip it open. It's gonna, carefully. All right, let's talk about that. Are you a, rip that shrink wrap right off, or do you carefully score it and take it out? And what's your take on that?
So yeah, we save our hype stickers. So if we can peel them off, we do. And then if it's like just a regular white dust sleeve, we'll usually put it on there. So then we save those. So yeah, I don't really rip them open. I actually just got the Black Sabbath Sabotage box set. I haven't even opened it yet because I haven't had time to really like spend time with it. So looking forward to that.
I'll tell you, really nice. The Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules picture discs. That
Those those were this record store day, right?
Yeah, those look really nice. I mean, I can't start going down that wormhole of, just picture discs, and I don't collect Sabbath at all, but the Dio Sabbath to me is that's my favorite. I mean, I get a lot of crap from people about that, but
Well, you know. I'm
Give me
Ozzy.
correct. Come on, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
So I mean, I'm Ozzy era. I love Dio. I mean, Italian, amazing voice. What's not to love? Um, but I don't think it's the same band. I mean, I think it's like it's great, and I like Dio Black Sabbath. I just don't think it's Black Sabbath. And so for me, I get a lot of crap for that. Especially because anything after Ozzy and Dio, I don't have because
Okay.
I don't I'm like, what is this? So but yeah, I mean, if you take out an integral part of a band that created or essentially spawned other genres, I don't think it can be the same thing. So, and I know people argue it's Iommi's band, whatever, maybe, but you know, those guys that created this thing from the start, to me, that's Black Sabbath. So,
I mean, I'm not. I certainly will not argue. It's all. You're probably more of a Sabbath expert than I'll ever be. But I to me, there's something about Dio
mhm.
that whether it's with Sabbath, whether it's solo. I mean, even Elf. I don't have any. I don't have the what is it, Ronnie and the Rockets, or his doo-wop. His
Yeah.
doo-wop single. I don't. I can't find that. But Ronnie and there's something or others. But I mean, Dio to me is like the power in his voice. Like you can skip going to the gym and just listen to Dio, and you'll get strong. Like that's kind of if it's all isometric. If you flex when you listen to Dio, that's all you need to do. So I,
No, I
I
mean,
don't know if
his voice is amazing. I
I'm
mean,
not sure if it works, but but no, I mean, listen, you can't argue the fact that Sabbath with Ozzy created that genre.
mhm,
There's no arguing on that.
right.
Now, what about solo Ozzy?
I like solo Ozzy. I do. I have a lot of solo Ozzy.
All of it, or just the first few?
I have the amazing box set that came out. That thing
Okay,
was like £1 billion. I mean,
yeah, that thing it looked like it had some heft.
yeah, I mean, when I got the box, it like was almost as big as me.
Got like a hand truck to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I love him. I got to see him before the pandemic on that last tour. So yeah, I think he's great. I love him as a human. I love them all as just people
Mhm.
too. So yeah.
What's your favorite Ozzy solo record?
Oof. I have a hard time with favorites. You know, I would say
Top three.
early stuff. Well, let's see. Let me grab some.
All
Ugh.
right. While Jen is away from the computer, I will I will take over and continue talking. Wow, that was fast.
I'm very organized.
That's like when I had my brother-in-law who's a Yardbirds expert on. And I mean, he's got all his Yardbirds in back of him. And all he has to do is mention an album and he's like, oh yeah. And he just grabs it right. And it's like, how the hell do you I know, but yet when I had him on last week, a couple of weeks ago, and he was in front of his just general collection, he was fumbling. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it as quickly as with the Oddbirds. So
So I think, you know, Blizzard of Oz, you know, this these were the first three. Dire of a Man, Speak of the Devil. So yeah, I mean, Bark at the Moon, it's great.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, so much, so much energy. You know, like I think that's what's really cool about it too.
it's all right. So let's go one further. While we're still talking about Ozzy, favorite guitar player that Ozzy played with,
Randy
Randy
Rhoads.
Rhodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, yeah, like you know, as a human and that relationship, I think that really even adds something else to it. It's just like that was something really special, and so I think that that's really cool too.
Yeah. That's cool. What about who? I keep forgetting the guy. The guy like he's like a bodybuilder. This guy. What's the Black Label Society? Come on.
Oh yeah,
Help.
Zach
Zach
Wild.
is yeah. Anything on that or?
I mean, I like him. I think he's good. I mean, I think he was the right person to come in and take over. And um, you know, Zach Sabbath. I enjoy their covers. Blasco. I love him. He's great. Another cat guy. It's funny, they posted something because they recently did um, they did a Black Sabbath cover record. They put that out, and one of the reviews was like, "Why don't you guys stop doing cover songs or whatever?" And they were like, "That's what we do."
Now, what about that the Nativity in Black? That was a record store day thing. I mean, it was prior to being a record store day. It was out in like the '90s, and then it was a record store day thing within a year or two, maybe. I mean, you couldn't get that. It was blitzed out, prices like tripled, and did you wind up getting that one? Any interest in that?
I definitely needed that. Yeah, so I got that last record store day, I think it was.
Within a year or two.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's your favorite cover on that one?
Oof. Isn't there? There's a typo negative one. I think that's pretty cool on there.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, they did. Wasn't that they did Nativity in Black? Was that right?
Yeah, I
Or,
think so.
they did that from the perspective. Right? Was that was the one where they did it like they kind of messed up the lyrics a little to sing it from the perspective of
Yeah, I'd have to pull it out, but yeah, I think so.
yeah typo that typo negative box
That's
is
nice. That's
oh
nice.
that's a nice one. Yeah, I got the one that came out 2 years ago. It was like that again. That was a record store day thing that they then reissued.
Mhm.
I got the reissue
On
on
the
that.
green, yeah, on the green vinyl.
Yeah,
It's nice.
yeah. That's a beautiful set. I mean they're a great band.
Mhm.
They're certainly one of my favorites. I
And
mean,
Buffalo.
growing up in Brooklyn, you gotta like them. It's just the way it was. And when I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in college, I wrote for the Brooklyn College newspaper. I did music where I wrote. I mean, I basically would scribble up a music review to get free CDs and concert tickets. So, but it worked. And this is when a Slow Deep and Hard first came out. So they set up an interview with me and Pete Steele,
Mhm.
and we met in it was like Marine Bay. It was in Brooklyn. Like they were rehearsing in a rehearsal space in Marine Park or Mill Basin, somewhere out there. Met him out there. We did the interview on the street. I still have the cassette. And afterwards, he's like, "Hey, you want to come in and watch us rehearse?"
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I sat there on the sofa watching them. It was a full concert, a full rehearsal. And then afterwards, it was like the Coca-Cola commercial where the football player throws the kid the jersey. And, hey, thank you so much. Hey, kid. And he throws me a t-shirt, a Slow Deep and Hard t-shirt. Still got it. And that was a great experience,
That's so cool. Yeah.
and have loved them ever since. I mean, Carnivore was just, again, you can't be a kid in Brooklyn and not like heavy music and not like Carnivore. You
Right.
know, they were like the
Well,
hometown
it makes sense
heroes.
for like CBGBs and everything too. Like
What was that?
I said it makes sense too for your love for like CBGB and everything too. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, they're sort of like the different, a different genre than let's say the stuff, the Ramones and Patti Smith, and like that era.
that
But
like gritty
yeah,
LES Brooklyn though. Like
yeah, but the thrash, they Carnival were just terrific, And I mean, those reissues are pretty solid too. The Carnivore reissues, I think Music on Vinyl did one of them certainly, just the Carnivore self-titled, and
yeah,
it's great.
yeah. I love to see a lot of this stuff coming out. I mean, for me, like I was born in the early 80s, so a lot of the 90s stuff is what I sort of grew up on. And so there wasn't vinyl releases
Yeah.
really then. So for me, seeing all of that stuff start to get picked up and put out, just, I mean, even some stuff that like you didn't even like then, now you're like, oh, I want that because it's nostalgic.
Right. Well, that's it. I mean, I think that as we get older, we constantly mine the music of our youth.
Mhm.
And it just brings back those youthful memories. I mean, there's not a whole lot of new stuff that I'm listening to. I'm going back
Yeah.
and listening to the older. I mean, again, it's not. I'm not putting on a Ramones album
Mhm.
at all, really. Once in a while, but when it comes, it's on there driving around, it's on the phone, and it just comes, or with the Bluetooth, whatever it is, and it comes up, and it's just like, yeah, it just makes you feel great,
Yeah.
because that's the music of the youth.
Exactly.
We're not getting any younger.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, anything else you want to share with us, or we'll start wrapping up?
Yeah, I don't think so. This has been fun. I
Oh,
mean,
right on. Well,
yeah.
thank you. So I'll tell you what, friends, if you're still watching, and hopefully you are, make sure that you hit like and leave comments, and I'll answer every comment. Jen's entire link tree is going to be in the description here. I'm gonna cut and paste this whole thing. It's gonna be a process here. It's gonna be like, just a lot of work, but it's well deserved. And Jen, thank you so much for joining me, and listeners, thank you as well. And yeah, let's do this again, because yeah, this is great. I love the insight in collecting and just the process of making records
Mhm.
as the experience, the client, the customer experience manager. So this was a good experience for me, and I hope it was for you, Jen. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. So what we'll do is I'll stop the recording, and then we'll have our like post wrap up. So friends, once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. Jen, thank you. We'll check out all of Jen's information on the in the description below. And this has been another episode of Your Personal Record. Thanks, everybody. And let's see, where's the mouse here? Let's end this.